All right, we're joined now by Marjorie Dannenfelser, who is the president of the Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America group, a very influential pro-life group. Thank you so much, Marjorie. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to it. I'm a huge fan.
Same. Well, I really appreciate you being here. And I know you're in Iowa right now, and you've been talking to people. So just the fact that you're in Iowa is interesting enough. But to set the stage for people, I imagine, Marjorie, one of the reasons you're in Iowa is that you're disappointed with what you've seen from Trump 2.0 so far when it comes to life. And you have been very vocal in recent weeks and months about some of those high-profile disappointments. We're talking about HHS, FDA, and now DOJ, with the Louisiana case that was kind of quietly backburnered, if I can use that as a verb, recently. Donald Trump himself, we'll let it go. Donald Trump himself talking about asking you and pro-life voters for, quote, flexibility on the Hyde Amendment on those Obamacare subsidies. So, Marjorie, if we could just start by you giving us your kind of overview so far of what you've seen now that we're 1 year in, and why you're concerned as a pro-life activist and voter yourself.
Yeah, thanks for that opportunity. I think it helps to begin by thinking of where we really are, which is just a few years out from Dobbs. And I think we'll look back years from now and say, wow, those were formative, important years. And look how things rolled out. There was a huge groundbreaking landmark decision. There was response, there was fear, there was aggression, and who did these things, right? So the reality is that in Trump 1, because I was very much a part of this, there were really important commitments that the president made. He followed through on every single one of them. We all know the judges that he appointed. We know that he takes personal responsibility for the overturn of Roe v. Wade. For all those things, we're incredibly grateful. We as a nation, you should be, even if you're not pro-life, you should realize that the gift of democracy, using the tools of democracy to work out consensus on something that over 50 years we've been denied any route to justice or even just consensus. Now, I want to protect every baby, but we all should be happy when we're given back something that had been denied by judges for so long. So when that moment happened, there was very little, as a dearth of leadership at the top of the Republican Party. It just simply wasn't there. There was some commitments and backing off and all sorts. And midterms actually went better than anybody expected. But then we got to Trump 2, and we were not living in the same situation. The door that had been open to Roe, frankly, the president really wanted to shut back, at least when it came to the federal level, and pretty much wipe his hands clean of anything that would be helping advance any of the opportunities that we had, because it's all just up to the states. Now, Kavanaugh and that Dobbs decision made very clear, and along with the rest of the in the decision, that this was sent back to all elected representatives, and that there is clearly a federal responsibility. So where we're left right now, in that desire for political reasons to kind of say, all right, you states, you're in charge, not me, we're done over here, is that decisions are getting backed into. Now, there's great staff across the federal government that are getting a lot of great things done. But the big ticket items, what happened since Dobbs and through COVID, was the mailing of abortion drugs all across the country. So most people are surprised to hear that the abortion rate has gone dramatically up. It was around 800,000 zone the year of Dobbs. It's well over 1 million annually in terms of abortions. And that is because the wild west of pharmaceuticals that the abortion drug is. During the Biden administration, the rules surrounding the in-person visit that was required for the abortion drug, that was dropped because it was a necessity that women get the abortion drug. So then when Trump is back in, he has not reinstated this in-person visit that's required to get a sonogram, a basic health scan, ectopic pregnancy, what's the gestation of your baby. None of that is required, just filling out a form, $150. So that is a huge disaster that most people are not seeing, but it's gradually getting recognized. And then very recently, you alluded to the fact that the Hyde Amendment, kind of the basic building block of the whole pro-life movement and just kind of a given for so many years since 1976, when the president was very concerned that the Obama healthcare subsidies get extended. He said to us, well, you're just going to have to be flexible on the Hyde Amendment. And the Hyde Amendment, of course, keeps us from using our own money to fund abortion across the country. It's simply untenable. And if this is the top of the GOP, for whom we're grateful for other things, but this is absolutely unacceptable to be living in a moment of such great hope and to have it washed away by these lawless abortion drug distributions being sent from New York and California into pro-life states.
I have a really dumb question, Marjorie, and I wonder if sometimes you find yourself in the situation where high-level lawmakers, people in positions of great influence and power, think of mifepristone and chemical abortion drugs almost as plan B, and they're not entirely clear on what the drugs are and what they do. Have you found that to be the case?
Yes, it's a great question because it happens all the time. I mean, not a ton of people are wanting to really look at the abortion issue every day. It's a recoil issue for many people. So there's not a lot of incentive to kind of dig in. Mifepristone, and because a lot of people call it the abortion pill, it sounds to them like pill, drug. It's a lot of conflation of different types of things. The only intent of this abortion drug is to abort a child after conception, and it's supposed to be up until 10 weeks. But of course, if you don't know what the gestational age of your baby, it could be at any point. So you can see how the harms to women also are occurring all over the country, and how it's just so insane that if it were therapy, like if you need allergy medicine, you got to go to your doctor. You got to get an exam. You got to make sure you're getting the right stuff. For this though, it's they're all guardrails are off, and women are dying. There are 1 in 11 women have sepsis and hemorrhaging, serious infection. The ER visit rate is dramatically up over any other type of abortion. So it is a disaster. And all we're getting from the administration is, guess what? The worst bureaucratic news you could ever get. We're studying it. Now, the FDA has a responsibility to study. Yes, of course they do. But they have a first responsibility to take it off the market while they're doing that, given the horrors that are happening right now.
Yeah, and so you mentioned the FDA has that case on its docket. Marty Makary over there, I know is not particularly trusted by a lot of people in the pro-life movement. I've interviewed him before during COVID and found him to be very compelling. But Bloomberg reported that the FDA is delaying that review until after the midterm elections. Now, Marjorie, is that what you're also hearing on your end? That this isn't just a delay to be more thorough, that this is a political delay that's happening particularly for the midterms?
I've been here a few years, and yes, this is the slow walk that we've all experienced many times. And one thing we all learn after midterms, there's a presidential election. So this wait until after midterms, wink and nod and promise, it will always evaporate, because there's always going to be an election that's bigger, more important. The most important election of our lifetime is around the corner. You people can't possibly blow it up by insisting on this thing. The crazy thing is, it's also incredibly popular among pro-choice people, lovers of Planned Parenthood. And the McLaughlin poll showed 70% of the people think it's really makes sense to require a doctor visit before having the pill. So of course, I think the pill should be gone, but that's not what's on the table right now. What's on the table is basic protection of women's health. This is no longer between your woman and your doctor anymore. It's between you and your mailman. It does any boyfriend, abusive father, trafficker, anyone can get a hold of this thing. Stocked up in fraternities, and a pimp's flop house. That's such a 1970s term. Anyway, flop house. Anyway, you get the picture. Anyone and everyone can have them. And there's case after case after case on our website. They're all there. But one of the most horrific ones that actually the guy's indicted and he's going to jail in Ohio is the case of a medical resident who was dating this woman, and while she was sleeping, stuffed the pills down her throat. And she woke up gagging and coughing, and she had already ingested them. She lost the baby. Okay, this is not freedom for women we're talking about. This is not the great liberator that the late feminist movement said that this was. This is an exploitation of women and tools to help men exploit women in these situations. So, it's the pro woman, it's the pro baby. It's just, kind of a common sense thing that I don't blame it on. I mean, we called for the firing of Dr. McCary. Of course, nobody liked it. Everybody's all mad. Well, he's the head of the FDA. He could do it in a minute. But there's another reality, and it begins at the White House. I mean, there's no question that if this were something that the president wanted, it would happen in a second. Right. He's never been afraid of anything. He's certainly, the idea that the president would want to study something for a year before acting on it doesn't really stand a straight face test.
Is it your sense that McCary and Bobby Kennedy are perhaps not strongly convicted in a pro-life direction politically, and that they personally are uncomfortable with pursuing a pro-life agenda, or are they just aware that the president wants to make sure abortion is not a motivator for women, for example, in the midterms, and they are taking that top down? Like you said, if he wanted to do it, they would probably swallow the bitter pill and do it. Yeah. No pun intended, actually.
Yeah. Sadly, yeah. No, I think most people know that probably Secretary Kennedy is not the pro-lifer of great zeal that one would hope in an HHS secretary. I think that they got to some agreement so that he could be HHS secretary. But yeah, do I think he's motivated to do anything like this? No. Do I think that Dr. McCary is a great pro-life advocate? I honestly have hearts of men, and women, but I do know that the politics of this are pretty clear, and that they would do it if they could. Mm-hmm. I mean, if they were told to. There's no question in my mind about that. I think and both of those individuals, both of those men, have been asked by senators and members of the House, 147 in the House, and all the leadership, and the same in the Senate. Every single Republican senator said, we need you to look at this. We need you to come up with some guidelines. And all that we're hearing, and the DOJ is backing it up, is we're just going to study this. It is so condescending and such an insult to all women, not just pro-life people. It really, so do we think it's going to change? I don't know. I only know that being involved in politics is there's a lot of people think it's the unhappy place or the dirty place or all that. I see it as a gift that means that we can change things in the future. And what we need is a very strong national pro-life leader. And it's great to be in Iowa involved in midterms, and it'll be great to be in Iowa for the presidential as well.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to ask you about Iowa, Marjorie. Yeah. You're on the ground there right now, and I know a lot of pro-life people, frankly, that care about the MAHA, Make America Healthy Again agenda, and care about the president's broader agenda, don't want to see potentially him get impeached if you have something he's reportedly worried about, if you have a Democratic House and potentially a Democratic Senate. So how do you hear people grappling with this, where you have... As I know, part of what your job is you believe that it's not an albatross in the election if it's handled correctly, that everybody else thinks it is. But how do you help people think about whether or not they're putting this like generational opportunity to make America healthy again on the line, potential impeachment on the line, over an issue that Dems would be super aggressive and much, much worse on if you didn't at least have a nominally pro-life administration?
Well, it's why I do love politics. It's why philosophy of Greece was the greatest thing to study. Why, you have a cause that you love very much, and that that there are a lot of people that support it. There are concrete ways, and one concrete way is to go to Iowa, go to other battleground states, go door to door, communicate directly to the right voters with the right message that moves them, and help persuade people that maybe weren't going to be with you, but are kind of on the edge, Republicans, independents, Democrats, who are a little in between, and people who aren't going to maybe vote unless they have somebody that comes and literally talks to them. We will talk to we'll go to 500,000 homes in Iowa. We'll reach double that and other ways of communication. And that, to me, that public square conversation, that is what raw, beautiful politics is. And that's what we're doing in Iowa. Right now, it's for midterms. And the governorship here is very important because Kim Reynolds is a rock star, and we need a governor here. We want to help have a governor here that continues her legacy. But so to me, it's in answer to your question, you convince by conversation, by persuasion, by what you do every single day. And you take it right to the voter who's going to make that vote, and and it works. We've done this since 2014 and on a major scale in the country in battlegrounds, and I know it works. I can tell you firsthand that we've got all the numbers, and that should give everyone great hope. So while yes, we are very. I mean, I couldn't. It's all of the administration. The way they're acting has got us all on our last nerve, but that does not speak to what is possible in the future, and that's exciting to me. Very exciting.
My last question, then, on that note, is a smart pro-life friend, someone that we both know, suggested I ask Marjorie if Donald Trump is still the most pro-life president ever, in your estimation.
Well. We give grades on administration by administration. That's how we score. With this administration, I would say definitely not. Last administration, I would say he was. But I think there's always a way to make up for it. I think around the corner, he could change his mind on this abortion drug thing, and it be changed in a minute. He could change his mind that, California babies are just as valuable as Alabama babies. And so let's take some steps forward. I think it's been an incredible disappointment, and we put so much into helping elect him. But I think, to you and our mutual friend, I would say we just judge every day by the merits of that day.
Marjorie, doing the Lord's work, people should absolutely check out the SBA List website if they're ever thinking about the chemical abortion drugs, have a friend thinking about it. Please go there and read about it. So, Marjorie, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. I love being on your show. Thanks.
We'll do it again. Appreciate it.
Right,
have fun in Iowa.
Thank you. All right.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.